They should be here soon. What up, people? Whoever the hell is here. I am less than prepared. As I usually am. Okay, now we're set up. I'm gonna kill this music just a little bit. Make it super background. Fix a few things while waiting. Clemens and PradaG should be happening soon. I hope not. They're not edited already, are they? No, we're just kind of waiting. Anyone gonna come by to hang out with me? No one wants to come watch Demise format? The other Trooper format. The one without Rise of the Storm Monarch and Green Baboon, as well as Force of the Breaker. Someone was disappointed that they couldn't play Volcanics here, because that's all in Force of the Breaker, but be interesting to see how you play Volcanics in such a fast meta. Freaking triple shoot, Confi, one Confi, which is bad enough. One ring, one snatch. It's a wild time. But I'm sure somebody in the next Trooper event will have the audacity to do such an action. Alright, looks like they're coming up here. I see Prada's waiting for Clemens. Those two game players should be at each other's throats real soon. Oh, this might be it. Where are these guys? I am here. They can start. Oh, Prada coming with the Italian here. Looks like Clemens is going to win RPs. That's very good for the Panda burn deck, which Clemens is piloting. Excuse me, just adjusting the volume. Got the Grand Mole sitting out on its own with one set. Both these decks have really strong go first hands. Prada does want to set up as PradaG wants to set up the Macrocosmos and whatnot, and then Clemens obviously wants to set up his back row. PradaG coming with a nice board breaker here, turn 2. Wild Heart's in. Hit a Grand Molt to Smashing Ground, and then the Confi's just going to rip out this level limit. Also getting the clean 1500. Wild Heart would be a bit of a problem for Clemenza here, because it can ignore some of the trap cards like Gravity Bind, but not impossible to deal with, depending on how Clemens built the deck. Oh my god, that is a spicy meatball of a... That was a... Well, not spicy. I'm not trying to be offensive. A spicy Heavy Storm. The pro set heavy. You don't expect that from the burn deck. Prada is forced to burn the Solemn here, which helps Clemens, because... well, not 4K. Now Prada's down to 3,500, so if Clemens is able to hold off Prada for enough time. You eventually get into the Secret Barrel and JD and Trio and blow away this life point here. Blow away these life points. Let's get a rat. I wonder what Clemens is going to be looking for. Doesn't have a Grand Mole anymore. Is he looking? Might be looking for the Lily, if Clemens has elected to run so. No, another rat. I haven't been watching too many of the games, unfortunately, so I'm not sure if Clemens is on the Lily. I can assume it's still a pretty good card for the Panda deck. Well, it looks like Clemens is just gonna sit under these rats for now. I don't know about Prada just killing all these rats here, because Clemens just thins out the deck, sets up something like that, and then actually lets Clemens get to the burn cards a little bit sooner. It's not like a major misplay, but I do feel like you don't want to just thin out the deck for the burn player. Here comes the other Wild Heart. Probably the best elemental hero monster before the release of Stratos, due to his ability to ignore trap cards. And there's a lot of prevalent ones around specific times, such as Ring, the Sakuretsus obviously, Mirror Force, Torrential. There's a lot of these trap card staples that just destroy monsters in the field, or affect them in some way, and Wild Heart's ability to ignore them is more beneficial than one might think. I've had a few times where I've started out against a Wild Heart, and all I've had were these generic removal traps, and it's been a bit frustrating, because then you're just looking for a monster that can deal with it, or one of your normal spells, so it is a bit of a resource investment for the opponent. Also, he has a pretty good stat line, the 15-16 here. Clemens is lucky enough to be able to get into Swords of Revealing Light. That's going to help bode him enough time to get into the burn, so look here, like, Prada might be in a bit of trouble here. He no longer has the... Well, he still has Heavy Storm, but he's lost a few tools like the Yemisi, and there is no Breaker the Magical Warrior in this format. The March 07 list banned it out. Likely just hit a bunch of these generic staple cards. I don't know the entire reasoning behind it. Breaker doesn't seem like an overpowered card, but it is one of the most like staple cards ever since its inception back in Magician's Force back in late 2003. I'm talking about in terms of TCG and OCG. Things are all a bit different, much different. Clemens sitting on this set 5. I'm assuming he just doesn't need to... Can't deal with the Wild Heart, just doesn't need to deal with it. Looking for some monsters here. Both players at even life points. Clemens is a little bit deeper into the deck, so he might be setting up a kill combo here. There's the first Secret Barrel. A Chainlink 1. I'm wondering... Nope. Just wanted to create space. It does put Prada into kill range. Clemens could realistically... Doesn't even have to like run a bunch of the burn... Chain a bunch of the cards at once. He could just like slowly chip away at Prada here. There's the Panda. Nice defense stat line. Wild Heart's not going to be able to clear over it. Here comes the other Smashing Ground. It's going to get rid of it. Going to chain Ceasefire. That's going to deal 1k to both players. Prada's life point's getting dangerously low. Here comes the Secret Barrel. This might kill him. This might be the endo. Yep, that's it. Now, this is a double elimination bracket, so Clemens is doing the run from the loser's bracket. which means he's got to win 2 games as opposed to, well, 2 matches as opposed to 1. This is a frustrating part of DE. And honestly, going forward, I might just refrain from doing anything I host like DE altogether. You get a lot of these awkward situations where one side of the bracket advances extremely far, and the other is kind of left waiting, especially in the losers bracket. There was a situation where players were waiting well over like 48 hours for a pairing to play, and in most cases it's due to a scheduling conflict, but in this case it was the players just being outright not in contact with each other, and that becomes extremely frustrating. As opposed to running a Swiss bracket where you can see how long each of the rounds have been, and you can make better decisions based on being stuck in a gridlock when there is a pairing or two that is having problems with setting up their match. Sometimes just the players just forgetting or just not checking in, but in good faith, it's the players being unable to find a mutually available time, especially with players in North America facing against players in Europe or wherever they may be. Anyway, PradaG's going to come here with a T-pose set here. We can assume Prada is stacked up on a lot more of the back row removal. Again, I don't know his whole deck list. I haven't really been focused on it much. I'm not sure what Prada's side deck is. I barely know what his main deck is. I watched like 1 or 2 of the replays, and I saw things like the Wild Heart, the Macrocosmo, or the Dimensional Fissure, the Survivor. So here comes the Assailant. It's going to take out the Sidra. Reaper is going to shave a card out of Prada's hand. Reaper is going to skip with the Heavy Storm. This is going to be really good for Clemens because he can just dump his... he's pretty safe to just leave his back row down. Now, Prada may have sided in Mobius to Frost Monarch, so I don't think Clemens is quite out of the woods yet in terms of the major back row removal cards. Mobius does become a +1 against these decks because on his Tribute Summon it just gets rid of 2 cards. Extremely good. Here comes the Sidra, and here comes the Banisher of the Radiance. They're both banished. It's not a major thing. It's gonna dual punch Clemens for quite a bit of damage, but he gets to keep the Reaper. Banisher is not too hard of a counter versus Clemens' deck. It is gonna make things like the giant rats worse because they need to hit the graveyard to activate and resolve. But yeah, Banisher will be annoying for Clemens, but does not shut down his deck like it would for Monarchs or something that need things like the Destiny Hero Malicious to hit the graveyard. Here comes the Mobius. There we go. Yeah, it's gonna hit the Set True Name. Interesting. Smashing Ground. Clemens is going to be taking a chunk of 4k damage. He's going to need a miracle here to really spin his game. He's going to need to draw into a Floodgate card. Okay, now the other way that Banisher might be annoying for Clemens' deck is that it's a level 3, which ignores the Gravity Bind and Level Limit Area B. It's just purely by coincidence that Banisher the Radiance is level 3. Has a pretty good stat line too. Prada might have sided the Prada might have sided also a Death Wombat, I'm not sure, as just an option for a deck like this to go against Burn, but many players were not anticipating Panda Burn as a deck. It's where it has a bit of an advantage in this scenario, and why I think Clemens got pretty far in this particular tournament. Most players were anticipating the deck of discussion for this, which is the Six Samurai, and Six Samurai was a surprise to everyone when it was first covered in the YGO from Zero tournament when GMYFS won with the deck. And then when I hosted another Demise tournament on the Trooper server, I won again by Dump Truck, different player. But that particular build has been proven to be pretty extremely good. I know that sounds weird, pretty extremely. It's pretty funny how well it does. I think most... yes, I mentioned Six Samurai. That's so funny. The second I talk about Six Samurai, in comes the Mr. Hanzo here, the de facto Six Samurai player across multiple formats. I was just gonna say that the reason for Six Samurai being particularly strong here is just the speed at which they operate. They still have a bunch of their they still have the base like monsters that are necessary, like the Zanji, the Iroh, I guess even the Yaichi. TCG does give the Grandmaster, which was an exclusive that came out for this period, and the player GMYFS also brought in Injection Fairy Lily to add to the deck's OTK power, so they literally can rush down the player in just a couple of turns. It's mostly the synergy they have with reasoning, how well they do with like double Rhoda, and the fact there aren't cards like Rise of the Storm Monarch to spin them back to the top of the deck, which is something they have a difficult time with in Perfect Circle, where cards like they can't block the things like Dimensional Prison. They have a hard time with Ryza and Phoenix with Windblast, and more players in Perfect Circle are citing Legendary Jiu-Jitsu Master for multiple matchups. So to me, that's largely in part to why Six Samurais operate well here. They have less of their usual counters you'd see in the GX era. And they build these reasonably strong boards, no pun intended, with all the free summons like Sidra, Grandmaster. I think they run Shien. Yeah, I think they have run Shien. But a lot of people weren't expecting Six Sams to just be as good as they were. With the name of Demise, people were more anticipating, oh, this is the format where it's Demise ODK is the best thing you can do. You drop the Advanced Ritual Art, summon a Demise, clear the board, banish 2 insects for Doomdozer, then you use meta to flip. Then you can OTK in a number of ways. You can meta your Demise, turn into a Cyber Twin Dragon. You can tribute your Doomdozer for a Great Maju Gazette, and or just Megamorph one of your monsters. Usually you can get AK lineup. Shien dumps on a few decks. Yeah, that too. It's a unique floodgate effect, and it's really funny. I think I was watching some I don't know why. I was watching some replays from a 2015 format. I think it was Clown. It was Clown, and there's a player on the Ignite, which is a Fire Warrior type. And because it's like a pendulum deck, they were able to add like Great Shogun Shien as like a floodgate because it adds the the one spell trap card restriction. I thought it was pretty neat because you can actually search the Shien because it was a Fire Warrior type, and that whole Ignite archetype searched Fire Warriors. But we're going way ahead here. You need to join one next time. I played one Trooper 406 Samurai. It's a fun era, very frail but surprisingly fast. Yeah, it's surprising we can get away with. I haven't been commenting too much on the game here, but it looks like Clemens did not have enough burn damage, and it looks like Prada secured this match. Sorry, I was kind of rambling and not really commenting on the game at hand. But it looks like Prada's going to secure this full tournament. Clemens got close, but Prada just locked it down. Even in a format where you think the best things were Demise and Troop Dupe Scoop or Triple Mally shenanigans, the classic Warrior beatdown still lives, breathes, and exists. Well, this is a macro variant, but they're using Dimensional Fissure Macro Cosmos as an extra level of stun and floodgate, because it does shut down some decks pretty hard. Prada being a multi-format menace with the classic beatdown stun builds. I know he's known for in 5Ds for playing GKs and Gravekeepers in multiple formats, and he knows how to play these types of warrior beatdown decks pretty well. So he's won another one of my tournaments. He did win my Stein tournament last month. Yeah, it's well played by both sides. Clemens showing that Panda Burn has still got some legs. I'm just gonna throw up this replay. I'm gonna get some coverage going. I'm gonna see the decks, and I have another little thing I want to highlight on the stream before we shut her down. I'm just gonna leave this running. You can kind of see what the players' hands were like during this match. Okay, let's look up Discord. I'm more curious about what were some of the other decks that were reaching the top. Okay, so we saw Congrats, Prada. I was circling back to what I was saying about Demise and the misconception that Demise was like this tier 1 threat of a deck. It's pretty tier 2, or it's pretty under definitely not as powerful as it was once conceived. And that's largely due into part how vulnerable the deck is. This is a format with triple Dust Shoot and Confi, making it really easy for the opponent to scope out the ritual monsters. They can even hold their Dust Shoot for when they try to play the advanced ritual art. You activate a response, you hand rip their ritual monster, and then they lose both their ritual monster and their ritual card, and you're just kind of left with your Manjus, Senjus, and Sonic Birds, and without getting to the actual Demise itself, you're kind of just left with a vanilla beat deck. Now, it makes me wonder if the deck needs a new way to build it or some innovation. It's just, even if it's from a time period where this deck was particularly scary and dominant, it makes me think the build has to adjust to the changes players have made to their decks. Obviously, deck building philosophy has changed drastically, and considering we play on an online environment with replays and full card access, we definitely cannot just rely on the opponent's lack of knowledge. The deck's playstyle has become incredibly telegraphed, and there's way too much side hate a player can bring in, be it the Threatening Roars, even the Pulling the Rugs, which shut down the Ritual Searchers. Yeah, there just needs to be some... Granted, there's still interest. There needs to be some more... a new way to build the Demise deck, in my opinion. I don't know, maybe it comes down to the pilot, but that's just my own personal take. Okay, now going into the coverage. First, I'm gonna just end the tournament, do a retrobot. We can kind of look at some of these whopping top end lists. We can see how each player built their deck. Oh my gosh. Retrobot just sometimes takes a bit of time. Again, I haven't been watching too many of the tournament replays. I've just been more busy than normal with my IRL stuff. So I haven't been able to see much of like the spice or see what other players have done, unfortunately. And it was a kind of smaller tournament for a less serious format, so I just honestly, God, I just haven't been paying too much attention. Let me try and begin. It just takes some time. There we go. Sometimes it takes an input or two. Oh. Coverage will be up in just a second. Yeah, it was just an unfortunate matchup for this burn deck because PradaG just naturally has had all the back row hate ready. Or we'll see. Okay, I think it's done now. Let's have a look at some of these decks. Gonna make sure it appears okay on my stream. Should be able to see it. Yeah, let's play some music. This is eerily quiet. One sec. There we go. Yes, this is the... Okay. Yeah, so here's the winning list. PradaG coming in with the... can't see the name. It's called... It is just a warrior deck. I think it's more like macro warrior or macro stun, but... I think warriors... It is mostly just the warriors. There's no macro cosmos, but you do have the double dimension fissure and the double banisher. That's a nice little classic warrior beatdown list. The double wild heart, pretty interesting in a format with the multiples of things like BrainCon and Snatch. This main of GMYFS looks better than the earlier one. Oh, we'll see. GMYFS may have made some changes. But I guess there is enough trap cards for Wildheart to avoid, like the Ring of Destruction. So, it's pretty reliable. Kind of crazy how Warrior almost won in PC. Didn't it win PC format? Didn't Alethio was using the Warrior list, like with the Neocilius. I'm pretty sure it won. Unless I'm misremembering. Let's look at the Now, it is Baboon Burn, but we do have a slight problem here, folks. Baboon is not legal, so we're gonna call this Panda Burn. Yeah, the ever reliable warrior. It's not my favorite thing in the world because, not that I think it's harmful to the format, but it does it can decentivize players from trying the actual decks like the machine builds or the things like the Destiny Hero shenanigans, which I'm much more drawn into, just because this is like the first, if you don't count Airplay, this is like the first like format that actually goes into like GX cards. That actually has way more of the GX identity present, because now we have like the Card Troopers and the Six Sams and the Stratos and the Mallies, as opposed to like 2006, where they really felt more like extensions of the DM era. Yes, you had some new cards like Cyber Dragon. You had a few new things like Treeborn Frog, but it still feels like when I play those formats, I still feel like I'm playing like DM era formats in a way. We still have the best staple cards. We still have generically good tools. And even though there are some individual strategies present, most of the Warrior and Monarch decks you see are like fall into that the quote-unquote standard, like the standard list. Whereas here in 2007, we get some actual new cards that let you build into those new cards a little bit better. Actually playing GX instead of late DM with some of the GX cards going, yeah, that's kind of the feeling. Yeah, there's a lot of 6M. It looks like GMI Fest this time around brought in some Solemn Judgments into the build. I didn't see those cards before in his initial list, but it's interesting because normally players are not very inclined to build Lily and Solemn, just because say you have to burn 3,000 or 4,000 life points for a Solemn, then you have like a Lily. That's already a really steep life point investment. But GMI Fest, he does know what he's doing when it comes to these GX lists. He probably just had a few games where that didn't go his way. I'm not saying he was like cheated out of a win, but sometimes you can have the most optimal, best version of a list you can, and you just still don't make it just due to the game variables. We talked about SJ's mandatory for this type of deck. Yeah, I can definitely understand the logic. It's always interesting to me because the common consensus is that Lily and Solemn really shouldn't be paired because they just guzzle down your life points. But hey, if you have to pay 7,900 life points to secure the win, I mean that's the win. That's what's important. Yeah, we had, barring the top two decks, we had 4 people on the 6 Samurai. So this is becoming less of a Ritual King Rushdown, more of a 6 Samurai Showdown. We almost got Diamond Dude Turbo into like the top half of the game here. This is a deck I almost wanted to bring DBT. I just wasn't just didn't optimize the deck the way I didn't have enough time to optimize the deck. I was looking for some matches. I couldn't really find any. I just stuck to a Monarch build. DDT coming off the heels of the previous one-off format of Airblade. We got Deswitz here is a certified chef for the decks like Diamond Dude Turbo, these more combo-centric ones. Looks like he got pretty far in, not quite into the top cut, but it's nice to see the Diamond Dude Turbo representation. Given the triple magical stone excavation that's still around before its limitation in the June list, I think. So we do have some framework here for people who want to bring Dude Turbo into one of these future events, which may not be for a bit because this format presentation. Oh, my OBS. Oh, sorry, I think my OBS disconnected. Gadgets can work. They can work well. I can assume they'd use something like the macro build. They're still. I don't see why they wouldn't be reliable. They may not operate as quickly as some of these other decks you've seen, like the machines or like the 6Ms, but if they can find a way to slow the pace of the game down to their speed, I think that's where they can come in and shine. They probably want to use the dimensional fissures and macrocosmos because they aren't affected by those decks. They do have a problem with players bringing in things like pulling the rug. But they have some synergies with other cards. I don't see why they couldn't be good here. Just not the most popular strategy because Gadgets does get a little bit tedious, just a little bit less exciting than some of the other stuff you see here. But I don't know. I don't have too much more to talk about here. It was an interesting little tournament. Just did it for fun. Obviously, Trooper is the more liked version between the Trooper formats, but I don't mind hosting this one from time to time. Demos? Or you mean Demise? Yeah, Demise, people have really shifted away from Demise. It's just too inconsistent. It's just too fragile. People are looking for consistency and reliability. So in a way, 6 Samurais has kind of replaced their role. They're faster. They have better play lines. Not much more to say. Now, I am about to wrap this up. Now, this is technically, I'm trying to wrap this up. But for anyone that's interested, unrelated to any of this 2007 stuff, on my other server in the Phantom Zone, I will be hosting a little for fun event that is going to be a unique spin on the existing Gladiator format. This will be one that adds Premium Pack 2 and has a heavily adjusted ban list. And I'm just throwing it out there for anyone who's interested in playing something that's like something more casual, something that's like less serious, something that's a little bit more for fun. If you ever want to play a version of the last format of GX without a lot of the degeneracy, with a cut down Glad Beast and the death of some toxic cards, there's a little for fun event happening on my Phantom Zone server. You can find me on Discord for a link to the server if you don't have it, but there's more details to follow. Just if someone's interested, if anyone is interested in the some late GX action that has some balance changes and just a little fun summer event that I've collaborated on with another player. Yeah. Thank you guys for tapping in. Thank you guys for watching and joining the stream. I'm gonna go over and get myself ready for the YGO from Zero Locals. Probably a small one, just it's the Yada event, so I'll see you guys around the Discord. Have a nice Saturday, otherwise.